Today I want to share with you from 2 Corinthians chapter 5 and verses 16 to 21 is a really important passage where Paul is talking about the ministry of reconciliation. That's at the heart of the call of Christians to be ministers, ambassadors of God's reconciliation, reconciling people with God, with themselves, and with one another. Our verses of the day are chapter 5, verses 18 and 19, where Paul writes these words: "All this is from God, who has reconciled us to himself through Christ and has given us the ministry of reconciliation. That is, in Christ, God was reconciling the world to himself, not counting their trespasses against them, but entrusting the message of reconciliation to us." And this is a really important word for us to hold on to and to remember. Reconciliation, to reconcile, to conciliate, to bring people back together. This implies forgiveness, unity, a commitment to move forward together in community. Because Paul is writing to a church. He's not just talking about people being reconciled to God through Christ by faith a first time, but he's also writing to a community of believers where there is some strife, some conflict, some division, some disagreement, and making it clear that part of what our aim is as Christians is reconciliation. I confess that's part of what I find so difficult in the current climate in our country is people, especially in the public eye, including many politicians, who claim to be followers of Christ. They even have that, identify themselves that way, for example, on their Twitter account. And yet the way they speak and the way they act is so far from being an ambassador or minister of reconciliation. They seem more to be, frankly, ambassadors of division and divisiveness. And that's simply not who we're called to be in Christ. We are called to bring people together. To be an ambassador for a nation, what do? Someone who's an ambassador for a country is to go forward and to represent their government and their country in another nation and to them, to share about their values, who we are, to look out for the nation's interests, and to try to increase that nation's worth, if you will, in the eyes of that country where they are serving. In a similar way, everywhere you and I go, if people know we are Christians, that we bear the name of Christ, we are to do all that we can to glorify and honor Christ and God, to represent Christ well in the world, and to help bring other people into relationship with Christ, for Christ to make his appeal through us. To do that, to be a good ambassador of reconciliation, takes love and grace and mercy and respect and treating people with dignity. And all these things are needed in our time.